sophomore game with Tanner Mordecai. I'm just curious what you will remember, what he was able to provide despite missing the 3.5 games this year.
It's funny you bring that up because I tell Tanner every day that I wish I had him for 3 or 4 years. I don't think that we would have him for 4. He'd probably be done in 3, right? But so I am truly, they say appreciate what you have. You got your family and those things, and obviously I do. But I am appreciating. I'm trying to enjoy every day I got with him because I know that on Monday that'll be the last one. And I just appreciate him as a person. Appreciate him for the warrior that he is. The coaches throw that word around a lot, but he is one of the toughest quarterbacks I've ever coached from a mental standpoint and a physical standpoint. He's been that way since the day he got here. It's 100% sincerely who and what he is. That's what we were looking for in our quarterback, and we got it. The only regret I have is that he was injured.
Yeah.
As a starter, he was 6-2, right? And we're gonna go into battle one more time here on Monday.
What do you think you have in Tyler Van Dyke and how he fits into your offense?
I mean, obviously we are very pleased with what Tyler has to offer. We wouldn't have brought him in, but he's got a lot of experience. He's a mentally tough kid. He's very bright. Obviously, he's tall and rangy, and he can throw it all over the yard. He can make all the throws. So, and I watched him live. I mean, Coach Fickle, I have learned working with him every day, is huge on winners, right? And we all are. And he's a guy that has proven he can do that in the past. And he's a guy that I've actually watched live. And that carried some weight with me with regards to liking him because I've seen him do it against our defense 2 years in a row. I've seen him do it against the entire league that I coached in for 4 years. And I know what he was competing against, and I know how high level he was playing. And so I'm obviously thrilled to have him here in our quarterback room.
You mentioned that mental toughness. Him having been through some struggles injury-wise, play up and down a little bit, does that maybe give you confidence that he's going to be able to push through if things weren't to go his way a day or a week or something?
Well, that's a great question. If you look at anybody's history, they probably have an injury history. They probably have an adversity history. They probably have a bad game, here and there. And for me, what I really am most intrigued about with Tyler is how he's bounced back and handled all those situations. So everybody has all that in their background. Many don't handle it as well. He did, and he does, and it's just part of the mental part of it. I think that is an asset that we're getting with him. And, time will tell. Obviously, he's got to come in, he's got to do it, and go compete with the rest of the guys, and we'll see what happens.
Phil, I imagine your first year in a new program anywhere is a learning experience to see what works and what doesn't. I know you still have a game left here, but is there sort of a list in your mind about areas you feel like this offense can grow in to get to whatever that next level is in year 2?
No question. I think everybody, a head coach, an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, even a position guy with regards to the vision in their room or the vision with your unit or the vision with the team, you have a picture of what you think it can be, what you know it can be, what you've done with it before. The trick is when you get somewhere, you really got to melt that with the talent that you have. So you've got to I've always said this, you got to let the talent dictate the direction that you take the offense. We also have things that we want to improve on, right? We want to improve the roster. We want to improve every room that we have. We want to improve our technique. We're improving every week schematically what we're doing. So I am excited about this game coming up, and then I will be excited about taking the next big step. And in year 2, usually it's pretty good. And so because you have so many people returning now that understand what it is we're doing.
Is there anything specific that comes to your mind about areas for growth or things you thought turned out to be more challenging this year as going to next year?
Not more challenging. I mean, I don't know that I've ever experienced as many injuries as we've had this year, and those are just excuses. But they were very impactful injuries, right? So I think going into the second year, I'm excited about knowing what the advantages of the second year are, and that's, when we line up in spring ball, we've got 8 guys in line that can turn around and tell the 2 young guys exactly why we're doing the drill, what we're doing, how often we're doing, how fast we're doing it. That's 35 coaches that we didn't have last year. right? And then the other thing is we're a lot closer from the get-go, from this whole process of playing much more instinctively, which is what the entire offense is predicated on. And obviously going into year 2, you do something for a year, you're better at it than you were when you first started. So those are the natural improvements and the natural benefits that you get from the second year. And then we'll address schematically and talent-wise and all that stuff when we get to spring ball.
But before Chaz went down, it felt like he was playing some of the best ball of his career. One of the guys that really benefited from, all the offensive changes. What does it just kind of mean to get him back for one more year? And what do you think he's capable of, if he's able to be, starting running back for really the first time in his collegiate career?
So Chaz, obviously, as we all know, is one of our most explosive players this year. And he fits a system that creates some space. And so we're elated to have him back. Can't wait to see him back out on the field. Happy that he's returning. But not only does he bring the explosive play on the field, but I mean he was heading towards being one of those 2 or 3 premier leaders on the offensive side before he got hurt, and I don't think that will change this year. I think he's intending to be one of the leaders on our team. We're going to need him to be, and I think that's kind of where things are going right now with Chaz.
And then just what's it say about him? 3 major injuries in 3 seasons, and he just kind of keeps coming back.
Well, I mean, we talk about mental toughness all the time. Here's a guy that has been through a lot of adversity, and the only thing he says every time I talk to him is how excited he is to get back to 100% and get going. And when you're a fighter like that, that's how you handle it. And so 4 times the charm is what I just said, and hopefully that's what happens.
When we mentioned explosive players, when we talked to you during the season, you mentioned having maybe an explosive guy on the outside and what it could do for the offense. Have you added that? Or is it something you still need to find, perhaps portal-wise?
We've made some additions to the roster, so those are obviously improvements, and we've done that in every room. I also think, though, in the receiver room, we're developing it because there's a lot of speed in the room, and so that's got to be coupled with, some experience and some technique, doing a better job of changing direction and those type of things. But the potential to be explosive exists in that room. And so I'm excited again about, first we got to lock in and go make some plays here in the bowl game, and that's really the only focus. And then once that's over, we'll delve into developing the rest of the room. So I'm not trying to skate your answer, but I'm really not focused on next year until we take care of the last chapter of this season.
Jake Renfro is going to play in a game for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah.
What does he add to this group? And just what is his talent level as a center? It's a position that maybe the average fan doesn't necessarily understand what he brings.
It's a more diverse position than some people think, just because of the mental part of it. He's got to make a lot of calls. That's what we're just discussing over there. He's got to make a lot of calls. He's got to ID a lot of things, and he really kind of sets the O-line right prior to every play. And I think one of the things that the extended practices, the added practices that we have for this game has given him an opportunity to kind of shake off some of the rust and ID some things that maybe didn't come so readily mid-season. And now he's repping every one group, and he's getting the endurance aspect of it. He's getting the mental aspect of it. And then one of the things I'll tell you that he does an outstanding job of, he's as crisp a snapper, as I've been around in a while. He gets back there, and those things that seems like a little thing, but it's an asset. It helps us with the RPOs. It helps us the timing of the run game. Helps us get into our drops sooner. So that has been that's been a pleasant surprise also with Jake being there.
Tyler's not here yet, but that's like you see the reaction you want to see about the other guys in the quarterback room that are going to be competing with him when he does get there.
I've been pleased with the reaction. I mean, they all slapped hands and said hello, and they talk. And when we had Mabry up here and we had Tyler up here, and they had football questions, and the guys in the room answered them. I think they just accept them as a part of our room. They know that's what's coming. And I think if you're made the right way and you play quarterback, you worry about your own development, and you go compete on the field, and you let your performance dictate what happens. I mean, they don't have a choice. That's the only thing they can do.
One more here for Coach Longo. Anything else?
Where have you seen Nick Evers take some steps forward maybe this season? I know when we talked in the spring, understanding the playbook and the offense as a whole was his next step? How have you seen that grow this year?
All of it, really. I mean, he's obviously an athlete, and he's been an athlete since the day he got here. So, and he can sling the ball. We wanted him to work on accuracy, the intermediate stuff, the quick stuff, the deep stuff, and those are things that when we get to technique and rep and ROA with him, he's gotten better at. Want to clean up technique, so we're still working on that. And then it's a forever improving process mentally. I would say that he is much further along right now than he was in the spring. So progress is good with him.